Yo, what's up? It's Q Ill. Kind of have a little rant. I figure I might as well because I took my last final today and I'm bored. But something kind of bothered me, not so much to the point where I'm so pissed and angry and all that. It's more just like it's kind of funny and well, basically, the topic of discussion is racism against Asians. And if you guys hear that and you already know what I'm about to talk about, it's the video of the girl from UCLA. Her name is Alexandra Wallace or something or other. And she goes to UCLA and she's in finals week or whatever. I know this very well because I go to UC. I took my last official final today. Thank you. Praise the Lord. Um, and she's studying or whatever and complaining about Asians in the library using cell phones and annoying her and basically she says a lot of ignorant stuff, but I feel like she says it out of just being playful and she wants to kind of play it off as nothing serious, but you're posting this on YouTube and I don't really know her as a YouTube personality or whatnot, but yeah, pretty much shut down her own social life because now, this girl's getting death threats from Asians and she had to shut down her Facebook and YouTube and all that jazz. I don't know what else she has running, but I found a lot of stuff funny about that video just because, she's just, to me, like, really weird girl. She says she's typical American with these, fake boobies and like this is a warning to everyone watching. I might cuss because I just think it's hilarious. So I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to walk out or pause the video right here. And mom, if you're watching, don't beat me. You could beat up this girl named Alexandra Wallace. I'm just kidding. Well, basically, she talks about how these Asian people are obnoxious, I guess, on the cell phone, and this is something I can totally identify with. But I notice a lot of times it's not always Asian people. I feel like it's pretty much anyone and everyone who wants to talk on the phone. And when I'm studying personally in the library, which you are allowed to use your cell phone in, even at our library at our UC, um, I'd rather them say it in their language because I don't want to know what they're talking about, and that's kind of more distracting to me, even if it's ching chong 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 whatever. And just a little 101, Asian 101 for you guys. We don't all understand each other, and sometimes we can't even identify with each other. And I have a pretty good Asian radar. I can tell when someone's Chinese, Japanese, Korean, whatever. But that doesn't necessarily mean I understand what the hell they're saying. And I find like a lot of white people and a lot of, other races are kind of ignorant about that. Um, I actually live in LA and I live pretty close to UCLA, so I thought it'd be pretty funny if I ran into this girl or if she knew some of my friends or whatnot. Cause yeah, I mean I grew up in LA, I was born and raised, but I went from East Los Angeles to the Valley, and then I moved into a upper white class rich neighborhood, which I live in now in LA, and I'll be moving back home from San Diego here. And it's just funny because when I moved into the neighborhood, I was definitely a minority, and I even had someone come up to me and he didn't know what a Korean person was. And I know that's a really weird thing to say, but it's a weirder thing to hear, trust me. I'm Korean American, and he thought there was no difference between Japanese, Chinese, and Korean. And I don't care what educational level you have. That's a really weird thing to say. A borderline stupid, ignorant, whatever you want to call it, because Chinese and Korean people don't necessarily get along always. And Japanese people and Koreans for sure don't get along. That's like asking a Jewish Holocaust survivor if they'll get along with a German Nazi or something. I mean, that might be an exaggeration, but for a lot of Koreans, it's not. And for a lot of Japanese people, it's not. And I have a lot of Japanese friends. my girlfriend, my best friends, a lot of my peers, a lot of my friends, they're all Japanese. I have a lot of Korean friends. And it's just, it's something that it's in the back of our mind, but we don't necessarily have to reflect any hate upon that because that's generations ago and we're American citizens born and raised here or whatever, grew up here, and we got bigger issues to tackle. Um One thing I thought was funny was that she put it on YouTube and she put it on, social networking sites and all that stuff, which I think are probably pretty much run by Asian people. And I know that Koreans have a lot of computer programmers that are pretty good at hacking and stuff, so it wouldn't be that hard to trace this girl down. I mean, you go to UCLA. I mean, if not, easier for non-Asians to get in. Like, I don't know. My train of thought's kind of mixing up here, but it just makes no sense to bag on the stomping ground that you're currently in. And the kind of evil side of me just immediately said, like, oh, we should track her down, blah, blah, and, like, they should harass her and be racist to her or whatever. But in retrospect, that's not what makes being an Asian to me cool. The Asian thing that I like, the stereotype or whatever that I like and that I actually feel proud of is the fact that, you know, Asians are very disciplined and we're able to keep that cool head even in like the most adverse situations, I guess, and the statements I'm about to make are extremely racist. I admit that I'm a racist, but I think I'm an equal opportunity racist because I'm racist against my people, your people, everyone's people. One thing, this is racist, but I admire about African Americans, blacks, whatever you prefer to be labeled as, is that they're very vocal about when there's an injustice to their people. They got the NAACP and they got the Million Man March and a lot of like solidarity. They have it in their music, their culture, their celebration, and all that stuff. I wish Asian people came together in that way, but we don't have that kind of solidarity. We got like East Asian whatever studies and clubs, and you got the Filipino club and Japanese American club and Korean American club, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But I think it's important, now it's a new year and all that stuff, that Asians are a little bit more vocal about it. And I just think it's hilarious that she's complaining about the cell phone because it's like, if we built it, if we made it, then why aren't we allowed to talk on it? And I just find it funny because in the back of my mind, I'm really racist, I realize, against white people, but that's because I've been stereotyped so much. In high school, everyone thought I came from the lower income Asian neighborhoods, and they all thought I was Chinese or Japanese or whatever. And it's like it goes both ways. Like, for example, I was at a Mexican restaurant today full of Mexicans and Latinos, but there were also Asians and white people, and all the Asian people were in the corner eating quietly and speaking in whatever language, Chinese, Cantonese, Mandarin, Korean, Japanese, whatever. But the white people who came in were being just as loud, if not more loud, and they had their kids running around amok and not disciplining them at all. But I didn't say anything, even though I'm a very vocal person. When something's bothering me, they're about to knock over my food, and I'm pretty sure the restaurant manager is pretty pissed because he doesn't want to be liable for them falling down or whatever. But you know what? They're just kids. They want to play. And if the parents decide that's the parenting method they want to take, then so be it. And in this video, this girl's talking about how like Asian parents come and like feed their kids and do their laundry and all that stuff every week. Yeah, to you that might be something different because your parents want you to be a free bird. They let you make YouTube videos of your fake blonde hair and your tits hanging out of your chest and all that stuff, wearing skanky clothes and speaking in this ignorant manner that makes you, your family, and your friends, and frankly your Asian friends, look like retards. That's the way you were brought up. That's not for me to say. I'm not gonna raise my kids like that. I'm not gonna put myself out there and say like, hey, my kid's ignorant and let them speak their mind and all that stuff. No. If you don't have anything smart to say, my philosophy is you be quiet. But if you have something important to say to get off your chest and like it's really bothering you, then by all means go ahead and say it, even if you think it's stupid. So that might contradict itself, but it makes sense to me, and that's the way I was brought up. And I don't take no shit from anyone. And whatever race you are, I hope you don't either, because racism is not something that should be tolerated. It's not something that should go around regardless if it means anything to you or not. Like, if someone's being racist to my Latino homie, like, I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm not gonna let it happen to my African American friends. And if it's poking fun, then you just gotta take it as it is and, let it go or whatever. But there are times when you cross that line, and if someone doesn't know you and they just start talking shit, then they deserve to be. No, I'm not gonna say that. They deserve what's coming to them. If you're angry, you should let it out, because First Amendment, whatever, all that stuff, freedom of speech, all that's all bullshit, because there's something called manners, and you can decide whether or not you want to follow them or not. And she brought up another thing, which was a tsunami. And it's funny because just as I'm, watching this video, my girlfriend's telling me about how, one of her bosses at work is being racist to all the non-Asians working there. But she herself is Asian and she has a black husband and interracial kids. I don't get that either. It makes no sense to me. Um, and I'm also hearing that, like, a lot of people are being racist about the tsunami in Japan, like, oh, that they deserve that, because of Pearl Harbor, or it's karma or something like that. This is nature. It's not karma. It's a freak of nature. And if that disaster hit someone you knew or or someone you love, you wouldn't be laughing and saying something like that. So why are you trying to, say a cheap joke just for someone else's expense? There are thousands of people who aren't going to be able to breathe a breath of fresh air tomorrow because they got wiped out in a freak tidal wave, or worse, or some, trapped underneath the rubble, and family members are dying to see them. I don't find anything funny about that, and there's always some joke you can crack or whatever. I really just don't see a point in it, especially because for me at least, I think all the natural disasters are like adding up. It's almost like everyone is kind of taking turns and being affected, and I'm just scared because, it doesn't matter what race or nationality or where you're located, it can happen. And yeah, I just wanted to say I thought that was freaking ridiculous. And this girl, if I ever do meet her in LA, believe that I'm not gonna just let her walk away, because yeah, she definitely needs to be taught something. And yeah, this is a pretty long rant, but I just thought it was really ridiculous. Another person on my Facebook commented saying something like, oh, fuck Japan, blah blah, Nate Dogg died, we have more important things to worry about. I like Nate Dogg a lot, but saying that, fuck you, dude. And obviously he's not my friend anymore. If you're watching this, fuck you. I I don't get the inhumanity people like possess behind the keyboard. All you internet thugs and, you know, wannabe gangsters online, I just feel bad for you, really. I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you, Miss Wallace, and yeah, other than that, I guess all I have to say is nice tits.